All right, students, let's talk about simple interest. So some of the vocabulary for simple interest, we have the interest, which is the extra amount that is earned or paid. And we use the letter I to denote interest. So also what we have is our principal. Your principal is always going to be your starting amount. So if someone goes and takes out a loan for a car, or they take out a mortgage, that principal is that initial amount that they borrowed. Okay. Also, if you're going to invest some money, that would be your principal, whatever you're investing initially to start off with. So that letter is going to be P. Then we have our rate. So our rate, or what we call the interest rate, is always going to be given to you as a percent. But in order to calculate your interest, you have to rewrite it as a decimal. So I want to make sure that we highlight that part. It must be a decimal. And we'll talk about how to rewrite a percent as a decimal in a second. So also we have our T, which is our term. And oftentimes we say it is the time because it's the time in years the money is invested or borrowed. So it must be written in years. So if we were figuring out how much time would be for 18 months, since that is in months, you have to rewrite that. So we know that there are 12 months in 1 year. So we do 18 divided by 12. So 18 months would be the same as 1.5 years. So also we have our total amount. So the total amount includes the amount of interest that you started off with, the amount of interest, I'm sorry, and then the principal that you started off with. So if you add those two, you'll get your total amount, which we use the letter A for. So let's look at an example. I'll give you a second. I'm gonna zoom out so you all can see this a little bit better. So those are some of our main vocab words that we're gonna see when we're talking about simple interest. So our simple interest formula is going to be I equals PRT. So what this is saying is our I, again, is our interest. So here's our interest. We have our principal, that starting amount that we borrowed. We have the rate, which we remember it has to be written as a decimal. And then our term, which is the time in years. So what this formula tells you to do is, in order to find that extra amount that will have to be paid on that loan, or the amount that will be earned on an investment, you have to take the principal and multiply it by the rate, and then multiply that by the term. So let's look at an example. All right, so this example says that if Madison invests a principal of $600 at a simple interest rate of 10% for 5 years, how much interest would she earn? So we want to start off and we want to identify our three parts in order to find our interest. So it tells us here that the principal is $600. And sometimes they may not tell us that it is the principal. They might say that she's investing $600 or she's starting with $600 in her account. But that is going to be our principal here. Then it says that she's investing that at a simple interest rate of 10%. So our rate is 10%, but we must write that as a decimal. So in order to do that, we want to take that 10 and divide by 100. So we'll get 0.1. And then it tells us that the term of the loan is 5 years. So we're going to say that the time it takes is going to be 5. And so in order to determine the interest, we're going to use our interest formula, and we're going to multiply the principal times the rate times the time. So we have 600 times 0.1 times the time, which is 5. And when we multiply those out, we're going to find that the interest would be $300. So what we know here is that Madison, if she invests a principal amount of $600, then she will make $300 in interest. So totaling, her total amount will end up being $900. Okay, so that's what we're looking at, finding calculated simple interest using our simple interest formula of I equals PRT.